Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Deane. I'm the Southern Region Sales Manager for the Dematic RTL, or Real-Time Logistics Division of Dematic. Firstly, let me welcome you all to this morning's webinar, a case study in voice technology adoption from Parmalat, Australia. This morning's webinar will be recorded and distributed to all participants and on social media. You'll also have the capability to post questions online utilising the online chat facility, or alternatively, you can forward questions via email to an address I'll advise at the end of the call. So by way of introductions, joining us this morning at Parmalat is Mr. Michael O'Neill. Michael is the Distribution Centre Manager for their Lidcombe facility, where voice technology has been deployed. So welcome, Michael.
Thanks, Rob.
We'll hear more from Michael shortly. In terms of an agenda, what we want to cover is who are Dematic, a company overview, Dematic and voice technology and our capability in that space. We'll then hear from Michael, who will provide a detailed overview of their deployment and their future plans. Next, we'll wrap up and summarise the outcomes. And finally, as I mentioned, we'll circulate the questions to all interested parties along with answers provided by Parmalat and Dematic. So with that agenda, let's get started. So firstly, who are Dematic? So Dematic is a global leader in supply chain management solutions. We provide advanced automated solutions and material handling solutions, engineering, installation and software to optimise your operations. We have over 10,000 systems installed in the last 50 years with a long history of engineering excellence and innovation. We have just under 5,000 employees worldwide. And in 2016, our revenues topped $3.5 billion US. We have a presence in 24 countries. And some of you may know that earlier this year, we were purchased by the Keon Group out of Europe. We have our largest innovation spend as a percentage of sales versus our competitors. We are both financially strong and we believe customer focused. So as a result, many global market leading companies have incorporated Dematic supply chain solutions into their core strategies. In terms of our regional capability and capacity across ASEAN, we have 550 employees in 10 locations. In Australia and New Zealand, our head office in Sydney at Belrose. Across Australia and New Zealand, we have 455 employees in 6 locations. We have a 10,000 square metre factory producing and manufacturing AGVs, racking and conveyor solutions. We have a competence centre for software development and deployment. And finally, we have 10 Colby storage solutions distributors around the country, a name I'm sure many of you will be familiar with. In ASEAN, our head office is in Singapore with 83 employees in 3 locations, supported by 3 partners. Whilst in North Asia, our head office is in Seoul with 13 employees at that location. Well, who are Dematic and voice? Well, Dematic first introduced the Vocollect solution to Australia over 15 years ago. We are currently the largest provider of voice technology in the ANZ region. We're the only Honeywell partner with a global support agreement in place. We're also the only Honeywell Platinum Plus partner globally. We have a Honeywell Systems Certified Repair Centre in ANZ, staffed with 35 support personnel with Honeywell full accreditation, which we're very proud of. These are just some of the Dematic voice users in this region. Many names I'm sure you're most familiar with, but there are many others that are not on the slide showing today. So let's talk about Honeywell Vocollect solutions and the results that's been seen over the time that they have been deployed. Vocollect have over 1 million voice users globally. They've been able to identify an annual customer savings of over $20 billion US. They have installations in 60 countries and support 35 different languages via the solution. Globally, Honeywell Vocollect has over 2,000 personnel in their team. In terms of results, they've been able to see increases in productivity from somewhere between 10 to 35%, a reduction of errors of 10 to 25%, and a reduction in staff training time of up to 50%. As a result of that, there's been a reduction in staff turnover of somewhere between 15 to 30%, and most importantly, a reduction in safety incidents between 5 to 20%. Looking at some of the trends around the globe in voice adoption, this is out of a survey done in October 2015 by Vocollect. DCs anticipate shifting to voice technology in the next 5 years, including 94% in Germany, 87% in the US, 82% in the UK, and 78% in France. Very high adoption rates. And we're seeing increasing adoption rates here in our region. So what are the common operational challenges that we address jointly together? Well, firstly, improving throughput and productivity. In other words, how can I improve my warehouse operations and grow faster? How do I reduce order processing time? In terms of improving accuracy, how can I reduce errors to an absolute minimum, particularly in picking? How can I dispense with costly quality QA checks? Mass customisation and value adds. How do I get new staff trained faster, particularly seasonal staff? How do I support more customer-specific value-added services? And finally, how do I reduce total operating cost? So where can I reduce inventory while maintaining high service rates? And how do I improve resource efficiency and resource flexibility? Just some of the common operational challenges that you guys would see, and certainly we do. I'm sure there are many more. What I'd like to do now is actually hand over to Michael from Parmalat, who will cover off on the Lidcombe Distribution Centre WMS Voice project and the implementation. Over to you, Michael.
Thanks, Rob. So, morning all. So, Parmalat have been invited here this morning to talk about our experiences within our WMS Go Live and implementation of Voice back in 2014. So I'm just going to start by giving a bit of an overview of Parmalat, who we are as a business, and talk about some of our key learnings and key challenges along the way. So Parmalat Lidcombe. Parmalat Australia is part of the Lactalis group. We manufacture at Lidcombe fresh milk and fresh white milk and flavoured milk. We also do McDonald's shake and sundae. We manufacture 234 million litres per year across 7 production lines, and we produce the largest amount of volume in the Parmalat Australian network. We're the largest factory. So we are a manufacturing and logistics site in one, so produced on site and dispatched on site. We've just secured a 10-year contract with Woolworths to manufacture their private label. And so part of the Lidcombe Lidcombe transformation project. So the scope, we wanted to leverage and benefit in a SAP warehouse management system for our finished goods with the inclusion of RF and voice mobile communication. So part of us doing that was we hold milk in crates. It's a very manual task. Crate is 18 kilos per crate, and part of us moving to voice was to give people their hands back and implement the voice technology to increase our efficiency of not holding paper and not moving to another method of holding a device while picking. So we've seen voice technology as a way to go. A few of the team in management have been in warehouses where we've seen voice work very well, and knew that was the way forward in providing the efficiencies that we desired. So key objectives were to reduce and eliminate process steps involved in running the 10 Parmalat Australia distribution centres, establish standardised procedures across the network. So Lidcombe was realistically seen as a pilot site. So what we were able to deliver in efficiencies would then be seen by the other sites, and we're currently in the process of a rollout of WMS at two of our other sites within the network. It was to also optimise and increase productivity, so speed of put away, retrieval, picking and dispatch, and increase pick accuracy. So, and also management by exception. So look at what is necessary to action only and enable priority setting of tasks by the use of accurate and concise reporting, which allows us to drill down and analyse. We also wanted to remove the paper documents from the DC processes. So why voice picking? I mentioned briefly. So moving to a new palletised environment. So previously we moved everything in loose crates. So we wanted to move to a fully palletised environment and move stock out the door as full pallets. So we wanted to reduce the risk of safety. So safety assessment indicated there would be increased exposure to manual handling by picking crates, and voice picking, whilst driving improved productivity compared to RF, also gave team members a free range of arm movement to ensure crates could be handled safely and securely. So some of the challenges and key learnings. So for us, we had I guess a relatively challenging go live. You had part of I guess our journey and understanding was really around the training for us and the time that we gave to that. We had a very difficult go live, and I think it's part of I guess why Parmalat has been so willing to jump on board and help Dematic is the support that was provided during that time. It was definitely not the technology that let us down, but I guess our ability to know what we need to do to get up to that. So being a true FMCG site, we only have a few days to move stock in and out the door. That first couple of days was relatively bumpy, and we encountered a really large amount of stock losses. So I guess you know, looking back, we're in the process of a second go live within the Parmalat Australia network, and we've really taken some key learnings out of that in terms of preparation in our training, in our documentation around training, and making sure that we have all stakeholders involved initially. One thing I think we really did well was the management of our people during that time. Although the training wasn't done in the right timeline, we really had a lot of guys step up to the plate, and that was key to our success. You know, in the couple of months afterwards, and now we've seen a 19.4% increase in our productivity. So great result, but it's been some challenging learnings along the way. So in our stock losses, so we've had a 73% reduction in our finished goods stock losses. You'll see in the next slide the journey that we've taken since 2014. You see around weeks 14 to 30, there is a real big spike there where we've encountered some learnings in our system, and that was about getting the actual SAP part of the system to do what we wanted it to do. So it's really important, I guess, for us now with the second rollout, that we know exactly what we want in the system, and we can then use the technology that we have to then deliver those results. So 2014, we had a $714,000 loss in stock. In 2015, you'll see the efficiencies have really kicked in. So we delivered on 49% of budget in our stock losses in 2015, and in 2016 the budget was halved again, and we're only 29% on budget. So we're continuing to see the benefit of what not only a WMS system provides, but also the voice picking and RF technology, where it's a much more accurate method of picking and processing orders. So sustained improvement. So we were operating at 1,550 litres per man hour. That's our key metric. Prior to go live, we now operate at a minimum of 1,850 litres per man hour. That's sort of the bottom line, I guess, of our productivity. But we've seen up to 2050 litres per man hour in our productivity. So it's only increasing as we continue to get more and more sophisticated in the way we operate. So what worked well? So team members were excited and focused on learning new skills and machinery. We really put a lot of time into the change of machinery, because it wasn't just an implementation of a warehouse management system and bringing along voice technology and RS, but it was also changing from non-high-reach environment to a high-reach environment. No pallet riders to pallet riders. So we had a culture of average worker had been in the business over 15 years, up to 25 years. So it was really taking a lot of people on the journey. Right now we only had 5 redundancies in total. Those people were taken through a fitness for work program and offered the opportunity to get to where they need to be, but ultimately they decided to take the redundancy. Improve relationship between the union and employees. So we, prior to WMS in 2013, we had a union membership of probably about 95%, and union membership has dropped to about 5% through the relationships that we've built within the distribution centre. A lot of guys are looking at us as the people to trust and be honest with them. So a really positive culture that we've built within the Lidcombe site. Listening to our people and earning their trust, managing poor performers, absenteeism and safety breaches, setting a new culture. So we're still on that journey, and we're continually seeing people rise up into leadership positions, not only by title but just by position on the floor. They're stepping up as leaders without a title. Employ new recruits. So we looked at a method of recruiting, and we really recruited by attitude, by skill set, and look at people that were familiar with voice picking technology and high reach and RF devices, and really looking at the attitude behind the individual. So not just do you have the skills, but do you have the attitude of where we want to go to. Transferring casuals to contracts to reduce labour costs, improving the culture with robust HR process and HR engagement. That was really key for us in the transition. The HR process and engagement started probably 12 to 18 months before we transitioned, and a lot of it was around the MHE side of things, I think, and that's something that I think we really did well. So what's next for Lidcombe? So in 2017, there's a project of we're looking at a robot palletization system. So right now we have a split between robot palletization and manual pallet build. So where the guys will take loose crates off the line and they'll build them with a frame fork attachment. So what's the proposal for 2017 is to move all of the palletization behind the wall into production, into industrial side of the business, and we'll end up with a hole in the wall that we receive a finished receipted pallet from production. We're looking at gravity flow system, and from there we're looking into AGV technology. So bring in the AGVs to basically do put away. I'm not sure if you can see the mouse, but that would be where the pallets come off the line, and this will be our high flow gravity racking. So AGVs will operate in this area, and it will be a no human interaction point in the facility. And they're looking at this part being our private label, and that this area here is a second step to us incorporating AGV technology on the outbound side into loading. So we're really looking at we're looking at AGVs, but over the other side we're looking at a full voice technology end-to-end operation. So right now we lose a lot of time. Part of our I guess journey in safety and being proactive in what we do. We've implemented a 4-hourly rotation, and we rotate between different types of MHE. One part of changing MHE often means that they may go from the voice onto an RF, which is put away, replenishment, and full pallet functions, full pallet picking functions. So we want to incorporate a end-to-end voice technology, which would allow and take away that time spent off the floor in the changeover of returning device, getting new devices, and just to allow us to actually stay out on the floor and change tasks. So it's a saving of 17 hours per day, and just in reduction of hardware changeover downtime. So for us, it will be quite a significant savings across the board. And that's it. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. So why don't we just summarise quickly what we just heard and some of the key objectives and some of the outcomes. So in terms of summary, what were the project objectives, the key ones? Well, to reduce or eliminate process steps wherever possible, and standardise those processes that are remaining and that haven't been eliminated and that are key to making the process work well. Provide real-time visibility and control to management and to Michael in running the shed. Certainly to increase productivity was obviously a key part of the overall business case and implementing voice. As Michael mentioned, management by exception by providing concise real-time KPI reporting. And obviously, wherever possible, reduce the use of paper, the bane of our life, I guess, all of us. So that were the key project objectives. And so what were the outcomes? Well, the outcomes, as you heard, was an increase in productivity by 19.4% on average, and at times kicking up over and above that. Reduce staff turnover by the team learning new processes in technology, and Michael also mentioned adopting a change culture as well. This has led to both improved relationships with both employees and the union via improved reporting and faster feedback and more efficient feedback. I guess this is really part of improved performance management for the Parmalat team here at Lidcombe. And as Michael mentioned, managed by exception with concise KPI reporting. And finally, a reduction in labour cost by transferring casuals across to contract status. So a real good outcome over time from the initial project objectives, a fairly bumpy start, but coming out of that bumpy start, lots of learnings, more around not just the technology, but more around the change management process and involving key stakeholders from the very outset. I'm sure the next deployments that are about to be rolled out in a couple of other locations, there'll be lots of learnings. And I know Michael's been seconded to project teams in other states. So it's a summary of the deployment here at Lidcombe. I should say finally, a reduction in FGSL, which is finished goods stock losses. So another key financial outcome by the implementation. So as I mentioned earlier, we've been taking questions online. There is that facility to provide online questions using the chat facility. If you haven't done that, you can also email me at robert.deane@dematic.com, and between Parmalat and Dematic, we'll get back to all of the registered people today and others, and provide answers to the questions that you guys have posed. So in summary, let me say thank you to you all for giving us your time this morning. We've gone through quite quickly, which is good, because we're all time poor, and we do appreciate you giving us your time this morning. And a big thank you to Parmalat and Michael in particular for sharing some of the insights that have been experienced here at Lidcombe by the adoption of voice technology. So again, thank you to all of you who participated this morning, and have a great day.